Did you just get a big shot? Congratulations, you're going to love your new crafting tool. But first you need to assemble your big shot and understand the parts. Hi, this is Jenn from stampwithjenn.com, and in this video I'll show you how to get started with your big shot. To remove the big shot from the box, open the top of the box and pull on the big shot handle to pull it out of the box. Then you want to remove the styrofoam packing, and you want to make sure that there are no parts attached to the styrofoam, and then you can throw all the packing away. Your parts are likely packaged like this. Just cut away the plastic. Here's the first important part, and that is the handle. Be careful, as there is a smaller bag in there with some other parts. The rest of this is your platforms and your instructions. You're just going to cut those out. Your instruction manual, you can keep it, but you don't need to, and I'll show you why in a minute. You will have 2 acrylic cutting plates and a platform or platforms. This big shot has multi-purpose platform, but newer big shots might have multiple plates, which I will show you in a minute. If there's a protective plastic on the handle, you want to remove that too. So there really is only one thing to assemble on your big shot, and that is the handle. The first step is to remove this little black piece, which actually says on it to remove and discard. Then take out the little bits out of this baggie very carefully. You don't want to lose any of them. You're going to have 4 parts: the Allen key, a little screw, a washer, and an end cap. Put the handle into the peg that is sticking out from the big shot. You can see the hole on the handle is square, so just look so you can fit it over the square peg. Then slide the little washer over the screw, and slide the screw into the hole in the handle. Start threading it on manually by turning it with your fingers. Then you're going to want to take the Allen key and slide it into the screw head and start turning right to tighten the screw. You can use either end of the Allen key to do this, whatever works for you. And you're going to screw until it feels tight, but you don't want to over tighten it. You can always tighten this screw later, especially over time if your big shot feels loose. And I've got a tip for you coming up on that. Next, we'll put the end cap on over the top of the screw head. Just pop it into the hole and snap it in. This is just to cover up the screw and to make the big shot look nice and finished. Now here's my tip about the Allen key. As I mentioned, you might want to tighten your handle later, so you'll want to save this Allen key. So I take my Scotch tape and turn my big shot over. Now this sticker I want to mention, leave it on the bottom, as you'll need it here for a warranty if you ever need to replace any parts later. The big shot has a 3-year warranty on it from Stampin' Up! So I just tape my Allen key on the bottom of the big shot so I can find it later when I need it. So your big shot is now ready to use. I'm just going to give you a couple tips about your platform and plates. Your big shot will come with a platform or platforms. This one is called the multi-purpose platform and has several different tabs on it for making different thicknesses on the platform depending on what type of work you're doing. With this type of die, a framelit type die, you're going to use the top surface, and there's a caution on the platform which I'm going to warn you about. It says this is not a cutting surface. So what you want to do is add your clear acrylic plates, your cardstock, your die, and the cutting surface of the die. It's a raised edge that goes down, and then you add another cutting plate on top. That one has a little mark on it, and I'm going to roll it through the big shot. You're going to turn the handle in the direction you want to go. If you need to give it a little nudge to get it started, or if it gets stuck, you can do that. And then out comes your perfectly cut shape. If you have an embossing folder, then you'll open to tab 1 and see the instructions here. Now here's a tip I have for embossing. I keep 2 clear plates only for embossing. This way the plates stay flat and unmarked. And marked plates can actually transfer etching to your project, and I'll show you some messed up plates later. So just insert your cardstock into the folder, put your clear plate on the bottom, your folder with the cardstock in it, then another clear plate, and run it through the Big Shot. The Big Shot will go both ways, by the way. You can go from one side to the other. So with embossing, you'll end up with this beautifully textured piece of cardstock. Now there's all these other diagrams on here for other types of dies, some of which Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry right now, but other companies' dies will work in the Big Shot. So I wanted to show these two other plates that will come with newer Big Shots and can be purchased from the Stampin' Up! Catalog for older Big Shots. It's simply a replacement for the multi-purpose platform with the platform separated. And again, the instructions are on top. They're all there for all the dies you'll need, Stampin' Up! Dies you'll need. But either of these platforms will work. The newer one is just maybe a bit easier to work with because it's separated. Now I want to show you two other options you haven't in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. First is the magnetic platform. It has a magnetic surface and holds dies onto the plate firmly with a strong magnetic pull. This is great for when you want to position something. Maybe you've cutting out a stamped image, and then the die won't shift as you move through the Big Shot. As with other platforms, it's not a cutting surface. Follow the pictures on the surface for how to. And this sandwich is exactly the same as a multi-purpose platform. A plate, the cardstock, die, and then another plate. If you have a more intricate die like this butterfly die, which it's called a thinlet, as opposed to one of the outline dies like the circle, which is called a framelit, you might want to use this other plate, which is called a precision base plate. You see on the surface again that it is not a cutting surface, so with this one, what you want to do is you flip it over and use the black side for the cutting side. And the sandwich is basically the same as all the other ones. You've got your plate on the bottom, which is now taking place in the place of the clear plate, your cardstock, your die, and a clear plate on top. With these intricate thinlets, I also go back and forth a couple times in my Big Shot to make sure that it is cut. Most of the pieces will just fall out at this point with a little poking or prodding, but there is one final trick for the thinlets, and that is to use the Big Shot die brush and foam pad, which is also in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. So you're just going to take your piece and roll the brush over top. If the cardstock is still stuck in the die, just run the brush right over the die. And then I store my foam brush in a wood mount empty case, which is also in the catalog, and that's just to keep all the bits contained. Final thing I want to show you is about wear and tear on your plates. This is what your plates look like when you first get them, and this is what they'll start to look like as you use them. As you're using your Big Shot, you're going to want to flip those plates left and right, top and bottom, and this will keep your cutting surface smooth and flat. Notice this plate here, I didn't flip it enough and it's got a really good curve going on. Hopefully I can fix it by just running it through the Big Shot a few times. At some point your plates will become very worn and might crack. Like this one. It's also very deeply etched. At some point you're going to have to replace them. They are less than $15 for a set of 2 plates from Stampin' Up! So don't be alarmed when you see markings start happening on your plates. This is normal and it doesn't affect their use. But if you do keep that separate set just for embossing, you're going to stretch the life of both plates. I hope you enjoyed learning how to get started with your Big Shot. And remember, although you have everything you need to start working on with your Big Shot, check out in the Stampin' Up! Catalog some of the extras I've shown you, including the awesome dies and folders. Have fun crafting.